Hello everyone. Today we will be going to discuss about C programming. In this we will be discussing the introduction of programming. So before directly jumping into programming, I just want to discuss that what program is all about. Program is basically collection of instructions which are written in specific programming language to perform some specific task. We have multiple programming languages available, out of which the one of the basic language is C programming. So we will be learning something about C programming in this lecture. So first of all, the first thing is about history of C, how C was developed. In early 90s, there was a language named as BCPL, which stands for Basic Combined Programming Language, which was developed in 1960 at Cambridge University. There was some disadvantages in BCPL, which was modified by Dennis Ritchie, and that language was implemented at Bell Laboratories in 1972. So the modified language which came into existence, that was named as C language. So now C is basically a general purpose programming language which is extremely popular, simple and flexible. It is a robust language which is rich in built-in functions, operators which can be used to write any complex program. It is procedural and structure-oriented programming language. Due to some of the data types available in C programming and some powerful operators, C become a very efficient and a very fast language. There are total 32 keywords available in C programming. C is highly portable. All the programs written in C programs can be functioned or modified from one computer or can be run on another as well. Now let's discuss about some of the advantages of C programming. C is basically a building block of the programming languages. Programs written in C are highly portable. Several standard functions are there that can be used to develop programs. The modular structures make code, debugging, maintenance and testing very easy. About the disadvantages, C does not support the concept of classes, that is object-oriented programming language. It has some problems with the runtime checking and it lacks in exception handling as well. Now let's discuss how a C program can be written. So here in front of you, you can see that a C program is subdivided into different sections. The first section is your documentation section, which is followed by linkage section, definition, global declaration, then we write the main function, then subprograms. And there is an example written in front of you which you can see on the screen. So we will be discussing these sections one by one. So let's start with the first section, that is documentation section. Under documentation section, we write comments. Comments are used to generally specify the name of the program or anything specifically you want to mention about what this statement or the instruction tells. So what is a comment? Comment starts with a slash and asterisk symbol and also ends with an asterisk and a slash symbol. You can write the comment anywhere in your program. Comments can span several lines within your C program. In C or C++, there are basically two types of comments available, single line comment and multi-line comment. So these are the syntax for writing a single line comment and a multi-line comment. As the name implies, while you want to write a comment which will end in only one line, then we will make use of the single line comment syntax, that is the two backslashes. It does not require an ending backslashes. But when it comes to a multi-line comment, then you have to specify the starting and the ending syntax for a multi-line comment. So as the name implies, multi-line comment can span to multiple lines. Then there is a linkage section. Then linkage section is used to define the preprocessor directive. Now what is a preprocessor directive? It is a message to the compiler that is handled by the part of the compiler known as preprocessor. What is the function of preprocessor? The function of preprocessor is to include other files in the source file. We have two different types of preprocessor. The first category comes is hash include. So hash include preprocessor directive is basically used to include the content of some specified files in the source file. wherever the hash include is placed, and it is done before compilation. So on the screen you can see the example of this. So here I have written hash include, and under the angular brackets I have written a header file, namely stdio.h, right. So what this file this directive will do, the hash include directive will tell the preprocessor to include all the contents of std.h file before compilation to the source file. So whatever the functions they are available in the header file will be linked to the source file before it is compiled on the compiler. So this is the usage of the preprocessor directive. The second preprocessor directive available to us is hash define. So this is basically used to define the symbolic constants. The symbolic constants can be specified using hash define. It allows the programmer to define a name for constant and use that name throughout the program, right. You can define any name and specify any constant value related to that particular constant, and when you use that constant in your program anywhere, it will be replaced by its value. So here you can see the example, hash define, a constant name pi is given, after a space the value related to that constant has been written. So what it will do, it will replace every occurrence of the symbolic constant pi with the value 3.1459 before the program is compiled. So whenever you want to make use of any constant throughout the program, it's better to define that constant with the help of the preprocessor hash define directive. Now next comes, what are the different rules to define a preprocessor? So there are some of the rules. All the preprocessor directive must begin with a special symbol, which is a hash sign. So hash sign always signifies the compiler that whatever you are going to write will be a preprocessor directive. Then preprocessor directive should not end with semicolon, because these are not any statements. These are not executable statements. Only one preprocessor directive can occur in one line. You can't write hash include stdio.h and hash include directive, two directives in the same line. So if you are writing hash include stdio.h, then you have to press enter key and the next preprocessor directive will be written in the next line. Now next rule is, preprocessor directive may appear at any place in the source file, but mostly it is given at the beginning of the program. So whenever we write the preprocessor directive, according to the structure of the C program, it has to be written on the top, but it is not a mandatory rule that you have to write it on the top. It is a given structure which we follow, but you can write the preprocessor directive anywhere in the program. Then there should be no space between the hash symbol and the directive. That means if you want to write hash include, then it has to be written without any spaces. And similarly, if you want to write hash define, then you have to write hash define without any spaces. So these are some of the rules which we will be following while working with the preprocessor directive. Now I will take you back to the structure of the C programming. After the documentation and the linkage section, here comes the definition section and the global declaration section. So we will be going to discuss definition and global declaration section here. What is a global declaration section? If you want to make use of any variables throughout the program, they should be declared globally, right? Because we know when we define any variable in a specific block, it becomes local to that block. That means its existence out of that block does not exist. So if you think that a particular variable is to be used in the program throughout, then you should declare it in the global declaration section. So what this section is all about, all the global variables used are declared in this part. The user defined functions are also declared in this part of the code. Here in this example, you can see I have written a user defined function. The declaration of that function has been declared. I have written the return type, then the name of the function and the set of parameters which are being used by the function. So you can declare the variables as well as the functions in the global declaration part. Now the next section is your main section. Your every C program will have a main function. As you can see in the diagram, I have given that what this main function will contain. It will contain local declaration as well as all the executable code part in this section. Let's go to the example written on the screen. You can see that in int main, I have started the program with a curly bracket, and the end of the main is also with a curly bracket. That means all the code which is to be written in the main function has to be written in the curly brackets. So this section will contain what? Local declaration as well as the executable code. What is a local declaration? As I have already told you, if you want to work with some of the variables whose lifetime should be up till the block only, then those should be declared in the main part. So here you can see in the example, I have declared A and P. These will be treated as a local variables. That means after the curly bracket ending, they does not have any existence. You can't call these variables out of main block. So these are the local declaration. Now coming to the executable code. Executable code is written under this statement: the print statement, the scanf statement, the calling of the function area, parameter, and the printf functions which are printing the output on the screen. These all are your executable codes. So the main function will contain two types of statements: local declaration as well as executable codes. The last section of a C program structure is your subprogram section. If you are making use of functions, which is one of the main features of C programming, where we divide a huge task into some small units of functions, those should be declared and defined outside the main function. So the declaration will be before main function. As you can see, I have declared radius, area, parameter. These are the function declarations, and the definition of these functions will be outside these main functions. So here you can see at the end of the main, I have written statements for float area, float parameter, right? These are the definitions. So definition for a function should also be included in the curly brackets as well. So float area is the function name, and within the curly bracket is the definition to that particular function. That implies what the area function will do will be written inside these set of curly brackets. Similarly for parameter, what this particular parameter function will do, it will return 2 multiplied by pi multiplied by radius. As I have discussed with you while discussing the linkage section about preprocessor directive, I have discussed that you can declare any constant value. Similarly here I have declared pi as a constant variable, and I have given the value 3.1415 in the linkage section. So when parameter function will be called, the pi will be replaced with the value which I have written earlier. So this is the usage of the preprocessor directive hash define. So you need not to write 3.1415 while doing the compilation or while calculating this formula. You just simply write the name of the constant variable, its value will be replaced. So this is basically a structure of C program. I have written the name of the program as program to find area and parameter of a circle, and as you can see it is a multi-line comment, so I have made use of that syntax. Then I have made use of the linkage section, that is hash define and hash include. So I have included stdio.h header file with my source file. That means all the functions which are already available in the header file, all the library functions should be linked to my this particular program. Then I have defined a constant value pi. Then some of the functions which I will be using in my program have been declared here. So radius, area, parameter are the name of the function. So this is simply the global declaration. Then the main function and the subprogram section. So I hope the structure of the C program is clear to you with the help of this particular program. So this is all about the C program. How do we write a simple C program? Now while writing some of the C program, there are some of the errors which can occur. So we need to take care of these errors while writing these particular programs. So while writing the code, it is also very important to know how to debug the code, right? So it will be done only if you have the prior knowledge of what is an error, what are the different types of error, because when you compile a C program, your compiler will explicitly explain you that this is the error which I am facing. If you understand the code written inside your error section, only then you can debug it. So it's better to understand what a error is all about. So let me take you to the error section. Now, what is an error? Error is basically some illegal operation which is performed by the user, which result in abnormal working of a program, right? So there are certain types of errors which come across while writing program. Some of the errors listed here are syntax error, runtime error, linker error and logical error. So we will be discussing each one of these error one by one. So let's start with the first type of error, that is your syntax error. So what is a syntax error? If I need to define a syntax error, it is basically the occurrence when you violate the rule of writing a syntax. Let me take you back to the example written on the C program. Here it is. You can see that there is a specific way of writing each instruction. As I have discussed with you, that hash and include should not contain a space in between. That means there should be no space between hash and include. This is basically what it is. It is a rule. It is a syntax that we need to follow. Then while defining or declaring a particular function, we need to write the return type of the function first, then we need to specify the name of the function, then we write it with the semicolon, like I have written float radius semicolon. If I put a semicolon after hash include stdio.h, then this becomes a syntax error because it is violating the rule of writing preprocessor directive. So such kind of things, if you don't follow the rules of writing a particular thing, then such kind of error comes under the category of syntax error. So let me take you back to the syntax error. These errors are detected by compiler. That is why these are termed as compiled errors. Okay? So compiler errors are the syntax error. Some of the common errors which come across while we write or we find some syntax error, it is missing semicolon at the end of the statement. Next is your runtime error. As the name implies, the errors which come or which occur or which are notified when the program is under running section. So it occurs during program execution after successful compilation. That means the program has been compiled and now it is running. While running, when it gives some kind of error, that types of error comes under the category of runtime error. Some of the common runtime errors are like division by zero. According to the syntax, if you want to divide some values, you need to have one operand, then a divide symbol, then a second operand. The syntax is correct if you have written 7 by 0. The syntax is correct. That means there is no syntax error. But when you compile it and when you run it, then you know that anything divisible by 0 is infinity. So which is not known to the computer. Hence, it will give you a runtime error. Next is your linker error. This is the third category of error. These errors commonly occur after compilation when we link different object files. For example, any built-in function is called, but its definition is stored in library file which is not present. Let me take you back to the example. So here you can see I have declared radius, area and parameter in the global declaration section, and I have defined area and parameter in my subprogram section, right? Let us suppose I am calling area function, but I have neither declared it nor defined it. So when the compiler will reach this particular instruction that area has to be called and it does not find any of its definition or declaration, then it will give you linker error. That means the compiler wants to link this area function to its definition, but its definition is not present in the program. Such kind of errors come under the category of linker error. So this is the third type of error which is available to us. And the last category under error is your logical error. What is a logical error? It is simply a bug or mistake in source code that results in incorrect or unexpected behavior. It is a type of routine error that simply produces wrong output. For example, assigning a value to the wrong variable, multiplying two numbers instead of adding, such kind of things. That means using using such kind of operator which is not required in the program. Let us suppose you want to divide two values, but you may accidentally put a multiply operator inside it, so that will obviously give you a wrong answer. So such things are come under the category of logical error. So this is all about which I wanted to discuss with you in this particular lecture. That in this particular lecture, let me just summarize what we have done. We have discussed about how C language come into existing, which was the predecessor of C language. C language is a successor of BCPL. Then we discuss about its advantages, disadvantages, its features, how a program is to be written in C programming, and what kind of errors that can come across when we write a programming language. I hope the concept of C programming and how we can write a C program is clear to you. Thank you so much for joining in.